Witch of Ravenwood, the true horror of 1998. In the small yet mysterious town of Ravenwood in the state of Oregon, autumn evenings were always wrapped in thick fog. October of 1998 was unusually cold. Not far from the town lay an ancient, abandoned forest known as Black Hollow Woods. Locals claimed a demonic witch named Morgeth still lived there. Empowered by black magic, legend had it she had made people vanish in the 1800s. And her vengeful spirit still wandered the woods. 4 friends, Emily, Sarah, Jessica, and Hannah, came to Ravenwood for a weekend getaway during their university break. Their plan was to spend the night in an old, abandoned cabin deep in the forest, a place where the sunset painted the trees gold before plunging them into blackness. An old woman from the town had warned them, "When the sun sets, do not go inside Black Hollow. She's watching you." But youthful arrogance and the thrill of adventure drowned out the warning. On the first night, under a full moon, the fog thickened. Suddenly, there was a loud knock at the cabin door. 3 times Emily opened it to find no one, only the corpse of a black bird lying on the ground. As soon as she touched it, the room's temperature dropped below freezing. That night, the witch came. Sarah, asleep in her bed, was violently lifted and slammed to the floor. Her screams echoed through the forest. The others froze in terror as Morgeth emerged from the fog. Her long, skeletal hands and glowing red eyes burning through the darkness. Within moments, Sarah's soul seemed to be ripped away, her lifeless body collapsing on the floor. The next day, Jessica begged them to leave, but Emily and Hannah insisted on waiting until daylight. Yet even during the day, the air under the trees felt heavy, as if unseen eyes were tracking them. When night fell, the wind died completely. Morgeth returned, stronger this time. Jessica's body was flung high into the air and smashed against the cabin wall, blood spraying across the wood. Emily and Hannah tried to drag her away, but her legs were twisted unnaturally, and her eyes had already gone blank. Now only Emily and Hannah remained. They decided to escape before the next night, but as they tried to leave, the forest paths shifted, leading them in circles. The fog thickened, and faint whispers surrounded them. "You will join them." Quote, that night, Hannah was grabbed by her hair and dragged across the floor. As she screamed, strange glowing symbols appeared on the cabin walls. Morgeth's black magic burned Hannah's eyes and tore her body apart. Emily watched from the corner, trembling, but no longer just afraid. She was angry. She remembered the old woman's words. "If you set fire to her magic mark, she will weaken." Quote, Emily grabbed a can of oil and a lighter, setting the glowing symbol ablaze. Morgeth shrieked in pain, her body starting to dissolve into fog. Yet she still tried to pull Emily into her grasp. With the last of her strength, Emily drove a broken wooden stake into the witch's chest. Morgeth's body split apart, vanishing into nothing, and the fog lifted instantly. The next morning, police found Emily's body at the forest's edge. Strangely, she had a calm smile on her face. The other 3 girls were never found. To this day, people of Ravenwood say that on cold October nights, a faint woman's laughter drifts from Black Hollow Woods. Perhaps it's Emily, or perhaps Morgeth has returned. The Curse of Hollow Creek, the true horror of 2004. In the northern part of Vermont, USA, nestled between snow-covered mountains and deep forests, lies a small town known as Hollow Creek. On the edge of the town sits a lake, surrounded by an ancient forest. According to local legend, a witch named Selena Vera once lived there, a woman who, in 1890, sold her soul to the devil through black magic. Her spirit still roamed the woods, feeding on the lives and souls of young women to keep her power alive. In the autumn of 2004, 4 friends, Rachel, Emily, Kate, and Madison, came to Hollow Creek to spend the Halloween weekend after finishing their university exams. They planned to stay in an old wooden cabin by the lake, long abandoned but offering a breathtaking view of the forest and the water. They laughed their way into the cabin, but an elderly woman from the town saw them and warned, "Leave before nightfall. This forest is alive, and she has already smelled you." The girls brushed it off as superstition and went to explore the lake. That night, the air was unnaturally still, and fog thickened outside the cabin window. Around midnight, the cabin door creaked open slowly, as if someone had stepped inside. Rachel got out of bed and saw a tall, thin woman in a black cloak standing in the corner. Her face blurred in the mist suddenly. The woman lunged, grabbing Rachel by the hair, lifting her into the air, and slamming her onto the wooden floor. The other three girls screamed. Black smoke poured from Selena's lips into Rachel's mouth. Her eyes went empty, and within seconds her body lay cold and lifeless. The next morning, the remaining three sat in shock, knowing this was no ordinary attack. Emily tried to convince them it was just a nightmare. They stayed inside all day, but as night fell, the shadows of the trees grew long and twisted. The second night, a scraping sound came from the window. Kate pulled the curtain back and saw Selena's face pressed against the glass, her eyes glowing like burning coals. The window shattered with a loud crack, and the witch stepped inside. This time she grabbed Kate, flinging her high into the air and slamming her against the wall. Blood splattered across the wooden planks. Emily and Madison tried to drag her away, but Selena tore her chest open with razor-sharp claws. Kate's final breath came with a curse. "You will never escape." Quote, now only Emily and Madison remained. They decided to leave before the next night, but the forest paths twisted and changed, trapping them inside. Fog swallowed everything, and whispers floated all around. "You will join them." Quote, on the third night, Madison shook Emily awake, saying she saw someone by the lake. When they went outside, Selena emerged from the mist. She grabbed Madison by the hair and began dragging her toward the water. Emily ran to help, but black magical symbols appeared on the ground, pulling her back like invisible chains. Selena plunged Madison into the lake, pulling the breath from her lungs until her body sank into the dark depths. Emily was now alone, fear mixed with a burning rage inside her. She remembered the old woman's war. "DS. If you destroy her magical mark, she will die." She returned to the cabin, grabbed a can of oil and an old iron dagger, and made her way to the lake where Selena stood within a black ritual circle. Emily set the symbol ablaze and drove the dagger straight into Selena's chest. The witch let out a scream so powerful the wind seemed to stop. Her body burst into ash, scattering into nothing. The next morning, police found Emily half conscious at the forest's edge. The other three girls were never found. To this day, the people of Hollow Creek say that on cold October nights, a faint woman's laughter drifts across the lake. Perhaps it's Emily, or perhaps Selena has returned. The Devil's Witch of Blackridge. The true horror of 2011. In the far north of Montana, hidden among icy mountains and frozen lakes, lies a mysterious region known as Blackridge Hollow. Famous for its wild beauty, locals whisper a darker tale of a witch named Marissa Crow, a master of black magic who made a pact with the devil in 1875. Gaining immortality, it's said she returns every 10 years to feed, drawing strength by consuming the souls of young women. In the freezing winter of 2011, 4 college friends, Ashley, Brooke, Chloe, and Megan, decided to spend their weekend hiking in Blackridge. They rented a charming wooden cabin on the edge of a frozen lake. Surrounded by thick forest in the daylight, the view looked magical: white snow, golden sunlight, and the lake frozen like a mirror. Near the cabin was an old country store, where an elderly man saw them and warned, "Leave before nightfall, Marissa will find you." Ashley laughed, brushing it off. "Just some local ghost story," she said, and they returned to the cabin. That night, the temperature dropped to -15 degrees. The wind died. Suddenly, every candle inside the cabin went out. Brooke heard footsteps outside, and when she peeked, she saw a woman standing in the mist, tall, with skeletal hands, black eyes, and an inhuman smile. In the blink of an eye, she was gone. Around midnight, Marissa entered the cabin. She grabbed Megan by the hair, lifted her, and slammed her onto the wooden floor. The girls heard her bones snap. Then, with a chilling breath, Marissa blew a black smoke into Megan's mouth. Within seconds, Megan's eyes went blank. Marissa dragged her lifeless body to the corner and, like a wild beast, tore into her flesh. The others could only scream in horror. The next morning, the 3 survivors barely spoke. Ashley wanted to leave immediately, but Chloe cried, saying the forest trails were blocked by snow and fog. On the second night, Marissa returned. This time, she seized Brooke, smashing her against the wall and breaking her ribs. Ashley and Chloe tried to pull her away, but Marissa slashed Brooke's throat with her fang teeth. Blood flooded the floor. Ashley struck her with a chair, but Marissa only laughed before vanishing into the fog. Now only Ashley and Chloe remained. Chloe begged that they wait for morning, but when they tried to walk out through the woods, they found themselves right back at the cabin, as if some unseen force was twisting the paths. The third night, Marissa yanked Chloe from her bed and hurled her to the ground. Her eyes were now completely black, glowing with strange sigils of dark magic. Placing a hand on Chloe's stomach, she let out a horrific scream, ripping her soul from her body. Ashley saw everything, and felt her fear burn away into rage. She remembered the old man's final words: "If you set her magic symbol on fire, she will die." Grabbing oil and an old iron rod, Ashley followed Marissa to the lake's edge, where a massive demonic circle was carved into the ice. As Marissa began chanting, Ashley set the circle ablaze. Marissa's scream was so unearthly that the ice cracked beneath them. Ashley drove the iron rod deep into her chest. Marissa's body dissolved into a swirling mist. And then there was silence. The next morning, police found Ashley on the edge of the forest, half conscious, clutching a burning piece of wood. The bodies of the other 3 girls were never recovered. Even today, locals say that when the January fog rolls across the frozen lake at night, you can hear a faint woman's laughter in the distance. Perhaps it's Ashley, or perhaps Marissa has returned. The Crimson Lake Witch, a true evil tale from 2014. In the northern part of Oregon, there's a mysterious lake known locally as Crimson Lake. Every autumn, its waters turn a faint, unnatural red, as though soaked in blood. Locals whisper that the crimson shade is caused by the blood magic of Lady Eleanor Graves, a woman from the 1800s who made a satanic pact for immortality. She sold her soul to the devil, and every 10 years, she must claim 4 virgin girls as sacrifices to restore her power. This particular incident took place in October 2014, when 4 friends, Hannah, Claire, Madison, and Emily, came to spend their college break at a wooden cabin near Crimson Lake. The scenery was breathtaking: golden autumn leaves, shimmering water, and snowy peaks in the distance. One evening, by the lake's shore, they met an old woman with unsettling red eyes. In a whispery voice, she warned, "Don't look at the lake at night. She's watching you." Quote, the girls laughed it off. But that very night, the atmosphere shifted, the wind died, the cabin's lights flickered, and a ghostly mist began to rise from the lake. At midnight, the door swung open on its own. From the mist emerged a tall figure. draped in tattered black robes, her face gaunt like a skull, and eyes burning with fire. It was Lady Alyssa Graves. Without a word, she grabbed Emily by the hair, slamming her to the ground with such force that her ribs cracked audibly. The other girls screamed, but Alyssa exhaled a crimson mist into Emily's mouth, leaving her limp and lifeless. She dragged the body into the lake, where the water deepened in red. The next morning, the three survivors were pale and shaking. Hannah insisted they leave immediately, but heavy fog and twisting paths led them right back to the cabin, as if some unseen force was keeping them trapped. The second night, at the stroke of midnight, a dark silhouette appeared at the window. This time, Alyssa came for Madison, slamming her against the wall until her skull split. She smeared her blood into a satanic symbol and consumed her soul. Claire and Hannah could only sob helplessly. On the third night, only Hannah and Claire remained. Alyssa attacked Claire, filling her body with a storm of black smoke until her eyes turned completely black. Hannah tried to save her, but Alyssa threw her across the room. Claire was gone, now alone. Hannah's fear turned into rage. She remembered a stone altar by the lake shore carved with demonic runes, perhaps the source of Alyssa's power. On the fourth night, as Alyssa emerged from the lake, Hannah grabbed a can of kerosene and a match from the cabin. She ran to the altar, doused it in fuel, and set it ablaze. Alyssa's scream shook the water. She lunged at Hannah, but Hannah thrust a burning iron rod deep into her chest. Alyssa's body dissolved into black smoke, vanishing with an unearthly shriek. By morning, Hannah was found sitting on the lake shore, bloodied, bruised, and alone. The bodies of the other three girls were never recovered. To this day, locals claim that if you look into Crimson Lake at midnight in October, you can see the shadows of four girls shimmering beneath the surface. And sometimes, faint laughter echoes from deep below. The Witch of Blackwater Pines. A true satanic horror from 2011. In the mountains of Montana, there is a place shrouded in mystery, known as Blackwater Pines. Tall pine trees stretch endlessly. Mist curls over a deep, still lake, and silence hangs thick in the air. Local legend claims that over a century ago, a woman named Agatha Crowhurst was burned alive for practicing witchcraft and satanic rituals. But she did not die. Instead, she made a pact with the devil himself, returning every 10 years to claim the lives of 4 young women to restore her power. This particular incident happened in October 2011, when 4 college friends, Jessica, Amanda, Rachel, and Sophie, decided to spend their autumn vacation in Montana. The fall scenery was breathtaking: golden leaves, crisp air, and a lake shrouded in drifting fog. On their first day, an old villager warned them, "If you see a woman by the lake at night, don't meet her eyes. She will take you." They laughed it off, but that night, strange things began. Scratches appeared on the cabin windows. Whispers floated in the cold air, and a foul smell drifted from the direction of the lake. Night 1, at exactly midnight, the cabin door creaked open. Through the fog emerged a tall, skeletal woman, half her face charred and melted, eyes like deep black pits. Clutching a blood-stained wooden staff, she lunged at Jessica, yanking her by the hair and slamming her to the floor so hard the wood cracked. Jessica's scream echoed through the cabin as the others froze in horror. Agatha grabbed her throat and breathed thick black smoke into her mouth. Within moments, Jessica's body went limp, dragging her by the ankles. Agatha disappeared into the lake. The water turned a deep, sinister red. Night 2, Amanda and Rachel cried endlessly. They tried to flee into the forest, but no matter which way they ran, they always ended up back at the cabin, as if the place itself was trapping them. At midnight, Agatha appeared at the window. This time, she snatched Amanda, smashing her into the cabin walls again and again, bones cracking with every blow. Then she drew a ritual dagger edged with satanic symbols and drove it into Amanda's chest. Rachel and Sophie's screams vanished into the endless pines. Night 3. Only Rachel and Sophie remained. Rachel, desperate to fight back, found an old hunting rifle in the cabin. But when Agatha arrived, she simply gestured, and the metal rusted and crumbled to dust in Rachel's hands. Agatha pounced, slamming her to the ground repeatedly until her skull split open. Sophie was left trembling, caught between terror and rage. Night 4. Sophie was alone, but she did not run. She searched the lake's rocky shore until she found Agatha's ritual circle. Animal skulls, black candles, and splashes of dried blood. As fog rolled in, Agatha emerged from the mist. Sophie set the circle ablaze. The witch's scream pierced the night. She charged, but Sophie grabbed a sharpened wooden stake and drove it into her chest with a burst of smoke and fire. Agatha's body disintegrated into ashes. When police arrived at dawn, they found Sophie barely conscious. Surrounded by scorched earth, the lake's water had turned black once more. The bodies of Jessica, Amanda, and Rachel were never recovered. To this day, locals claim that on October nights, you can hear a woman's laughter drifting over the lake, and sometimes, 4 shadowy figures moving beneath the water's surface.